Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly market view for Monday the 10th of April to Friday the 14th of April 2023. My name is Vishal. Let's get started. Alright, let's start with the monthly chart on the Nifty. Let's quickly open the monthly chart. So this is your monthly chart. This is that indecision candle which was created in this level of demand. Now we have to see in the coming month whether this will lead to a slightly more bullish opportunity, or whether this will move a little bit more into the consolidation as we have this high. So any close above this indecision candle high will lead to a stronger momentum in the market. Let's go on to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we had a nice weekly close also, and we have now closed into this area here. There is this overhead weekly supply as pointed out by me last week. So there is a possibility that we might retest or try to retest this area as we go along, and we'll have to see in the coming trading sessions whether that happens. Let's move on to the daily chart. And on the daily chart, we have gapped up into this area of supply. Now, very important to know that. Let me just get rid of this. And so this is where we are right now. We are in this supply zone here, and this is a daily supply zone. So we have had a test of that supply zone today at 17,665, and we are getting a reaction, to say so. We have one more level of supply right above this area, which I'm closely watching and monitoring. This is more or less coinciding with the 17,800 round number. Now, what could happen is there could be a possibility where the markets, get into this supply and give us a reaction from this supply itself, where we could see something like this, and then coming into this area over here of demand, and then possibly pushing up and then coming down like this. Okay, so we might see something like this happening, or we might see a slight consolidation leading to another fall in this market. Okay, so this is going to be a small corrective move. So let us see whether we are able to get that. Now, just in case, since the daily supply zone is a very big supply zone, is there a way to fine tune this area? So we have the 75-minute chart, and in fact, this level was also discussed with our students in our XLT sessions that we conduct at Sharekhan Education. And price has come into this area, giving a slight bit of indecision, has more or less filled this gap and moving into a little bit of a consolidation, right? So right now, the crucial area to watch out for will be these two key levels. So one will be the 75-minute supply zone, and we'll have to see whether the markets react from this area, or then the markets move a little bit more to the upside and tag this supply zone and then start falling down. Okay, so these are going to be the key areas. If you now want to just go out there and fine tune these levels, we had in fact marked few levels on the 15 minutes last week. So let's bring up those levels first. So let's get the 15-minute chart. Now I will also tell you what is happening since morning. So this is that level. So there were two levels of supply here. One, we had this this lower level, this drop-based drop. So let's go ahead and mark this level. And then we also had this drop-based drop level. So right now, currently prices are more or less reacting from the above supply zones. If you go to the right-hand side, this is what is happening right now. Okay, and markets are finding it a little difficult to sustain above this supply zone. So in case if this supply zone does hold, then the first target for this supply zone will be this level of demand from where the market had actually taken off. So prices will try to come and try to fill this area before deciding whether they want to make the next move up or whether they want to make the next move to the downside. So let's keep a close watch on this level. And just to let you know what happened in the morning today, I'm going to go out there to the 1 minute chart here to show you something. So if you look at the 1 minute chart, so this is everything that has happened on the 1 minute chart, right? So in the morning, let me just go to the right hand side. So this is where the prices hit that 15-minute supply zone, and after the prices did hit the supply zone, we saw a fall in price, and then the markets went on to rally up again. So anyone who would have kept his stop loss above this level would have probably got stopped out over here. Okay, so we've got to be a little generous when you're keeping your stop losses on indices. And whenever you're in such a situation, always prefer to keep the stop losses above the supply zone. So if you try and keep your stop losses above the previous day high or below the previous day's low, then pretty much you're soon to be a victim of getting stopped out and then the trade moving in your favor. Okay, so this happens a lot of times. I'm showing you this on the 1 minute chart because this is clearly seen on the 1 minute chart. And now, more or less, the market is trying to target this gap fill before it eventually moves on to make towards these lows. Okay, so we'll have to see now how the market reacts in this area. And if the market does play out, we are seeing a nice formation over here. So in case if the price does remove this low here, then we might retest this low and then we might even move down further towards this demand. So seems like the profit margin on the shorts is in our favor right now, but let us see how this short actually plays out. All right, let's move on to the next market, which is Bank Nifty. So let's get rid of all this. Let's see what's happening on the Bank Nifty. So as the charts are loading, let's all right, so let us start now with the monthly chart of Bank Nifty. Let's load this chart here. And now when we look at the monthly chart of Bank Nifty, very, very similar to the Nifty, we are also seeing a potential bounce coming on the Bank Nifty level as well. So let's quickly go ahead and mark this level here. So this is the level I'm talking about. Very, very similar structure like an indecision candle. Like I said, a bullish momentum might trigger if this month's candle tries and closes above this indecision candle here. But let's see whether that happens. Let's move on to the weekly chart. And let's see what we see on the weekly chart here. So on the weekly chart, we are seeing a little bit of a bearish pressure this morning since it's the start of the week. And, we are still looking at this area here. Comparatively, Bank Nifty still has a lot of room to go towards the 41,900 odd level. So it will be a little bit of a wait and watch. Let's see whether we see a picture on the daily chart. So again, on the daily chart, very similar to the Nifty, we have this area of supply. And right now the prices have just tagged in this supply zone over here and possibly just consolidating. Now usually this could be a sign of distribution. And generally distribution occurs more or less when we are slightly closer towards the supply zone or inside the supply zone. So what we might expect is, in case if more distribution occurs, then we might see the markets potentially moving down if this supply zone does play out. Okay, so just keep a close watch on this supply zone. Let's move on to the smaller time frame now to see. So this is the 15-minute chart of Bank Nifty, and as you can clearly see that we have had a rally straight into this supply zone. We have hit the daily supply zone. However, there are these two levels within the daily, which are these drop-based drop levels. I'll just mark them for you here. Price hasn't come or tested these levels yet, so there could be a possibility that because of volatility, etc., these levels can get triggered, and then it will be interesting to see whether Bank Nifty is able to hold these levels of supply and then price to turn in the downward direction. So keep a close watch on these two levels on the bank Nifty. We've had one round of pricing coming here, and if you look at this overall area here, I'm just going to use another color just to mark that area out. So if you look at this entire area over here, this is everything where all the demand is tested. So any move into this area can significantly lead to a much bigger fall and at least travel towards this gap level. So within this area, the shorts are going to be really high probability. But let's see whether the price gets to this area in the first place, and then we expect to see a potential turn coming into the market. Okay, let's look at now the USD INR. Let's see what the USD INR is doing. So let me quickly load the USD INR chart. The USD INR and the Nifty have something what we call as an inverse correlation, right? So what does that mean? That means that if USD INR is in demand and Nifty is in supply, and USD INR starts to bounce from a level of demand, then there is a possibility that Nifty will start coming down from a supply zone. This is not always 100% right, but more or less, even if you get a 70 to 80% correlation, you are still good, and that is what we are looking for in the USD-INR. So let's start with the monthly chart on the USD-INR. The monthly chart is just consolidating here. We have this monthly level of demand. You can plot it wick to wick. We are just forming, kind of a consolidation where we are possibly going to see a break to the upside or to the downside, right? So it's more or less a potential breakout formation in the making. If you look over here on the weekly chart, the range is becoming a little bit more tighter and tighter. And in case if there is a breakout to the upside, then it's not going to be a good news for the indices, because the indices are possibly likely to correct and start moving to the downside. Okay, yeah, this is the same picture on the daily chart as well. Nothing clear, nothing evident as yet. Let's move on to the intraday charts. Maybe we can find some levels or some key levels there. So let's go to the so nothing much. There is this level of supply, but it's pretty far away from current market price. It's made a new low, and right now we are just in a consolidation phase, right? So there is a possibility that we have this level of demand which is tested once. So there is a possibility that we might push slightly more to the downside, at least based on price action, because we have a lot of supply overhead for the market to start moving up. Right? Can the market move up? Surely yes. And if it does, then the indices will have a hard time in moving to the upside. Okay, so here are your key levels on the USD-INR. So this week we have two big companies announcing their earnings, TCS as well as Infosys. And a lot of times there is always a request that whenever the earnings are coming out, can we analyze those charts and look at those stocks? So definitely yes. So let's quickly do the analysis on TCS, and let's try to find out the key levels with respect to earnings. Now, in our education programs, and especially when it comes to options, we have special option sessions dedicated towards earnings season. But what I'm going to be doing right now, I'm not going to be planning any trade setup over here. I'm just going to discuss some important key levels. Okay, so let's look at the let's look at the daily chart of TCS, and let's identify some key levels on TCS. So here are the two key levels on TCS with respect to earnings perspective. We have one level of supply over here, which is from 3361 to 3412, and then you have this area here, which is right at the top. Now, because these levels are currently far away from market price, there's always a perception that these levels might not trigger, but because of earnings, there is a possibility that prices might come here and then we might see a big momentum or a big round of volatility. TCS is still not really very, very bullish as of now. But if you look at these supply zones created, this is where the prices might stall before making the move. Any level of demand will be below this area here, somewhere closer to 2900 odd levels. So this is going to be a level to watch out for. So keep a close watch on the TCS levels for this week as earnings are expected. And then the next stock that we are going to be talking about with some key levels is going to be Infosys. So let's load the Infosys chart. So let's straightaway move to the daily chart of Infosys. And if we look at the daily chart of Infosys, we see that volatility is slightly picking up, obviously because of the earnings. The IVs are going to become more inflated as the earnings come closer and closer. But what is more important to also look at is this area over here, which is the area of supply, which is closer to the round number of 1500. So let's mark this supply zone here. This is that level. So 1495 to 1520, which is again coinciding with that 1500 round number. And on the demand side, we have this level of demand, which is currently folding once, twice, it's just been playing many times. So this is 1400 odd levels. And if you want a more clearer level just below this area, we have here. Let's get rid of this. This level is already deeply tested, so maybe we can ignore this level. That's somewhere closer to right hand side. This level, this gap level that you see over here, this will be an area to watch out for on Infosys with respect to demand. So what we might expect to see is we might expect to see a big round of volatility coming into Infosys. Of course, you make your proper analysis before planning or taking any trade. These are just important levels which we expect to hold. But because it's earnings and because it's volatility, anything can happen. So just trade with a strict stop loss and make sure that if the stop loss is triggered, you exit your trade setup. All right, so this is the information for this week. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. This week is also a truncated week. 14th is a national holiday. So our trading sessions are going to end on Thursday. I hope you enjoyed the analysis. And if you do like our analysis, please subscribe to our education channel, which is Sharekhan Education on YouTube. And please pass your valuable comments in the video section so that we can come up with more improvements, more suggestions as we go on. Have a lovely week. Safe trading to all. Bye-bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.